Hi, welcome to Brain Thunder, where we interview millennial entrepreneurs, founders, commentators, and everything in between. Here with me today, I have Jessica Yang, who is the founder and CEO of Tressy, an e-commerce platform that is offering curated luxury vintage furniture and decor without the retail markup. Jessica, welcome.
Hello, Martha.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. And I absolutely love your company. You know, when you first told me about it, the first thing that I thought was, finally, something is doing something about it.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me, and for the audience to hear this coming from your own words, what was the problem that you were trying to solve, and how did you go about solving it?
Yeah, great question. I think that the reason why I started this company is like very personal. When I first moved to New York and just looking for furniture, I basically decorated my whole place from Facebook Marketplace because furniture is expensive.
So expensive.
You can get such better deals when it's secondhand because people have to move, they're super urgent. And then I saw an issue though trying to get it to my apartment, which would be me spending $200 moving something from Brooklyn to Tribeca. Mm-hmm. And so just the hassle of all of that, and then seeing how many people are just selling just the most amazing stuff for free or whatever because they have to move. And then talking to my friends who all deal with the same problem from New York, Berlin, like San Francisco, Boston, I saw how much of an issue everyone I know deals with it. So I think that's what made me first start. And then also, after I finished my apartment, I had a lot of friends, especially guy friends and coworkers, who wanted me to help them find something or decorate their place. And so then I would show them something on Facebook Marketplace, and this is like an amazing deal, this is such a cool chair or something. And they're like, that's not really my style. And I was like, okay, well, this is a great deal, I'm gonna get it for myself. I get it, I put it in my apartment, I put it on my Insta story, and then within 20 minutes, oh, just kidding, I want it.
Amazing.
So then I realized a lot of people also just don't have that vision either.
Yeah.
And so I think my goal was to provide that kind of, that inefficiency in the market of people who try to find and buy furniture that's not super expensive. Mm-hmm. I think right now the interior design industry is very, very catered towards the very high net individuals where most people I know can't spend $10,000 on a desk. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of one thing I wanted to solve. Mm-hmm. And then the second is also just to make like interior design more accessible in more of the artistic. And that's providing people my age more of a vision and showing them like how to decorate pieces. And which is why everything I have is very staged. I try to stage them in a way that's more of a lived in setting, like an appointment or like a party or something.
So people can have that vision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so also show people that there's more than just, I don't know, white because they don't feel comfortable trying out new things or trying out different eras and not just mid-century modern.
And I think New York is such an amazing market for you to do that because it's one of those cities where people come, people go, not everyone stays for too long. As you said, you know, at the end of the day, not everyone is a super high net worth individual that is ready to immediately spend Y amount of money on, you know, a tabletop or, you know, a piece of art just right off the bat.
Especially if they don't know they're going to stay there that
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Many people come to New York for a year, 2 years, and then they leave. So do you really want to make a forever investment? So what an incredible idea. Oh my gosh. And I love your pieces on a personal level as well. I want you to tell me a little bit about what's next and how does that fit into your mission and Tress's mission going forward?
Because what I kind of discussed before is that my mission is twofold. One is to demystify the interior design industry and make it more accessible. Especially towards Gen Z and millennials, I think. And then the second part is to bridge that efficiency with buyers and sellers. So I think right now I'm focused more on like the first part of that kind of curation and building my identity and choosing these pieces and focusing on just capturing audience and customers and marketing. But I think my second part of what I'm trying to, my second goal, which would be addressing the second part of like my mission, and that would be bridging buyers and sellers. And so that would be open into consignment. So basically, if you have something that you're trying to sell or you're just trying to get rid of and it's urgent or you just don't have time or anything, you can submit it to us, and if it's good enough quality, we'll come and pick it up, transport it, hit it, and sell it. And once it sells, you get a cut. And so that's going to be able to first give people
an incentive also.
Yeah, incentive, especially because if you see how much furniture is left on the streets of New York all the time,
it's insane.
And it's just because people just don't know how to sell it or they don't have time where it's massively inconvenient.
So you take that inconvenience away from them and you're saying, hey, you have something that's worth it. We can tell that it's worth it. People will have interest in this item. Let us deal with it.
Yes, exactly.
And take the inconvenience away from you.
Yeah, and then also the whole ethos is also that furniture that a decor that we provide, and we're offering is such high quality that when you move out, you can like consign it back to us. Basically, it's just like full life cycle, creating like closed loop economy of what I think is like massive like, disconnect right now in the market. Yeah.
I love that. And do you know what? What's interesting, what a lot of people don't know, probably I didn't know for sure, was that the interior design industry includes a variety of different industries, like logistics and like transportation, and and those are very male dominated industries. So I always wanted to ask you, what's your experience as a female founder, a minority founder? What's your experience dealing with all those miscellaneous industries that are such a big part of Tress's success?
Right. So I think in the end of the day, I'm trying to be a logistics provider, right? It was like very predominantly male. And I think a lot of times, I think first impressions, maybe they didn't take me seriously because I'm like a young woman. And so I definitely feel I had to prove myself to them that I like want to put in the work. If I'm going with them to pick up stuff, they kind of expect me to just sit there instead of actively helping them move and pack and everything. And I think that earned their respect.
And negotiating the prices, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I remember when I first started, I was such a people pleaser that I was like, everything's okay, Yeah. And then I think as time goes on, now I'm like very like...
Because you're much more confident.
Yeah, confident, and if I realize it's a business. And so now I'm definitely, now that I've surveyed a lot of the market, I know what prices are fair, what prices I can get. And so having to deal with contractors and that, and also just like warehouse management, it's toughened me up, which I think that these contractors and these people that now like work for me, I think that earned their respect, But
then you end up becoming that person that they keep seeing, that keeps coming back again and again, and they understand that now she is, a player in the game, and we have to respect her, and we understand that, she is here to stay, which is a pretty cool thing to say.
I was surprised at how many people are just so willing to kind of just support me and honestly kind of give me more of a discount or letting me get my footing. And so just like using them and having partnerships with them has been so just like what I did not expect going into this, especially industries I've never ever dealt with before.
I was going to say, because you started this, you had a completely different career. That was an incredibly brave moment. I think in every founder, it's something they've never done before. That's what makes them a founder. They're trying to solve a new problem. How was it doing that without a co-founder?
It's really hard because one, having to manage everything myself from pricing to finance, marketing, it isn't like I've definitely had to learn a lot, but I don't think it was in the beginning at least the most efficient. Also, I think that because I make all of these executive decisions daily, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
A lot of founders find that they don't really know what they're doing in the beginning.
Yeah, and so the fact that it's almost like individual group thing. I have to basically learn from my mistakes as I make these decisions with no one else kind of like that I can like have a sounding board for. And so I think part of that can be kind of a lonely experience as well.
I was going to say, one of the founders that was sitting on this couch, he actually created a cold entree for Michael Mara, an incredible founder himself. And what he found was when he started his company, he was not getting the type of support that he was looking for, and he spoke to a few founders in the space, and he found that this was very much needed. So back to the loneliness, it's really tough because most of friends at that stage don't do something similar to what you do, and it's really challenging to explain to them what it is that it entails to be a founder. You don't just work in product at say a reputable company. You don't just work at marketing you don't just do different things. You are responsible for product and marketing and execution and like all of those executive decisions. It's basically getting all the different departments in a running company, and you do all of this yourself.
No, for sure. It's like almost like my dad used to say, like getting an MBA in a crash course of it.
Yes.
That's one thing about being a solo founder is that if I don't do it, no one's going to do it. Right?
Exactly.
This company kind of relies on me. If I'm like sad or if I'm just stressed out for a week, I can't just bury my head in the sand. I have to just continue working
100%.
Because otherwise there's no one else to do it.
There's no future.
Exactly. And so it's like just kind of like always being not disheartened, or at least just always making sure that I'm motivated and keep my head just focused on the goal, because it's so easy to just
give up
or because you're internalizing all this chaos.
And back to what we were saying, you're the CEO, so basically you have to deal with every single part of the company, operations and finance and all of it. How old is the company right now, and what's fundraising looking for you, which is a pretty picky subject for a lot of founders?
How old is the company? I officially launched in June, so that's very recent, and I would say I started this
6 months old.
Yeah, 6 months old. And I think I started it, got my warehouse in February. And so after that, it was just a massive sprint, which I don't really know why. I had this internal pressure myself to just launch
Get started. Yes.
Which I dealt with a massive burnout, so I would not recommend that in the future, I think. And then in terms of funding, I think that I want probably going to look for funding like next year. I don't know if I'm willing to, I don't know if I'm going to go the route just yet and give up my equity. Also back to mentorship and doing this alone. What's actually been really helpful for me is that I've had some really, really amazing mentors in VC and finance because of like my banking experience. And they've given me a lot of advice. They're kind of 30 minutes. I count that as kind of my mentorship.
That's amazing.
And they kind of guided me through like when I should get funding and telling me honestly just kind of hold off as much as I can. And yeah, I think with the funding route, I'm focusing more on grants and loans right now. And I think like maybe in the next 2 years, next 12 months, I'll look more into VC actual funding it that way.
What is your advice for young millennial female founders yourself? You know, you were in a stable career, you were in banking, you were in a secure position. What advice would you give to female founders or budding, aspiring female founders that are maybe thinking of doing something similar?
This is the only life you're ever going to live. And so why would you want to spend a second of it fulfilling someone else's dream? What are you going to regret more? Do it and fail, or
never do it at all?
And I thought, for me, it's for sure never starting. Yeah.
So for you, there was a lot to lose for sure, but also not that much, because ultimately it comes down to purpose, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I would lose my ego, I guess. But I've already very much went through an ego death just starting this. So
yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
Every single founder gets humbled very, very fast once they start. That's what I always hear.
Yeah. No one actually knows what they're doing. If there was an actual playbook to follow, then entrepreneurship, anyone would do it. And so I think you just gotta roll with the punches.
Yeah, and every founder's experience is just so different as well. Like,
yeah.
The way you run your startup is different to how, you know, the previous founder I spoke to runs his startup. And I think ultimately it comes down to the industry, it comes down to, you know, also the personality and the character, how many people do you have.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what every founder has in common with each other is the fact that they're responsible at some point in their lives for every single part of the job. When it's your thing, when you love it, when it aligns with your purpose and you feel that it's yours, it's very different.
For sure. It's like my baby now. It's,
no one touched it.
Child. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to finish on a very positive note. What's your favorite piece? I've seen some of your pieces and I'm in love with way too many of them. But which one is your favorite? And can you tell me a little bit of history about it? I'm sure that everything has a story. What's something that's really stood out to you?
For sure. Yeah, I'm personally, my personal style, I love statement pieces.
Yeah.
So everything I get, I'm always in love with. One of my favorite pieces are these framed Harper Weekly, like vintage newspaper clippings from the 1800s. And so I just think it's insane that you see this just piece of history, right? And it's from the 1850s, a cricket match, and you know, you can read about that one day in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I find it so fascinating that I can look at it and just see it and be like, this was read in the 1800s, and I think
it's amazing.
Yeah, and I just love things like that where the context is right there, and it's also a lot of my pieces are always from. It's all period pieces, so they're all have historical meaning. One of the first pieces I actually got, and it's this metallic curved cabinet that's like Art Deco style.
Amazing.
And it's painted like metallic, and it's like wooden, but also has these pearl iron knobs. And so,
it's the one you showed me right before this interview.
Yeah,
it's actually amazing.
And I think the reason why I hadn't listed it until recently is because I had never seen it yet. It's a cabinet.
It's very unique. So just to put things into perspective, how much was that originally, and how much can people get it for?
It would be like thousands.
Wow.
3 or 4K you could see. Anything that's from like 80s Art Deco cabinet.
And people can get it for how much?
So I'm doing it for like $890, which is already a huge discount.
Huge.
Exactly.
More than 50% of the price.
Yeah, and so that's my whole thing is that I want to make sure like by bringing interior design accessible.
You're democratizing.
Yeah, exactly. And I want
interior
people
design
to basically see that like, you can get all this good style, all this good quality without compromising your style, you know? And so that piece is I love because I've never seen anything like it's so unique and it's so beautiful. And I actually, because I didn't even know like really what it was or like, how to price it is why like I actually consulted some interior design like experts and furniture designers just to be like, what is this, you know? And so they were able to tell me kind of date it and be like, it's from the 80s, Art Deco. And so yeah, I think that piece is really special because I had it for so long, holding on to it, not because it was just also so beautiful, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's
so,
beautiful.
Yeah,
truly.
it's hard to go.
Oh my gosh, maybe
you
I'll
should
get that.
Yeah.
Stay tuned on that. So I loved speaking with you today, Jess, and I think this is going to be so incredibly helpful for for a lot of female founders. I kind of test your commitment truly, because I saw the whole journey kind of from the beginning to now, and I've seen some of your pieces, so I'm excited to see more. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and follow on Spotify and YouTube for more. Thank you. Bye.
It's that new age, ain't it something special? Yeah, we gon' change the game, we gon'